I've seen all the messages and I fully understand and endorse what people are saying tonight, particularly about the inflexibility regarding the tactics. And that's why I've had enough of Antonio Conte. I mean, I love the guy and I love his passion, but I cannot understand how such a successful manager could be so inflexible and stick to the same formula when patently you haven't got players good enough to make it work. The substitutions are, well, they're moronic. Nothing happens before about the 75th minute. And then invariably, I have to say, I think they're the wrong substitutions. There is a stubborn part of me, Ricky, that really does not want to see us finish fourth at the end of this season. Because if we do, Daniel Levy and the hierarchy will say, well, this has been another very good season. We're in the Champions League again, and this will go on and on and on. And if you do look back over the past decade or so, we've had a very good average finish. I think it's 4.5. So invariably we get in the Champions League or we get into Europe. And that justifies the way the club is being run. Because I think the hierarchy have been left behind. We as Spurs fans, we loved it when we first got into the Champions League. It was really exciting. But we've been doing that for a long time now. And as exciting as it still is, and Wednesday night we'll put everything to one side and cheer the team on against AC Milan. I totally agree with what Cracks said, and I'd rather, in a way, we didn't even qualify for any European competition at the end of this season. Make the club sit back and think, hang on a minute, are we doing this right? And listen to the fans. I wish we could do a census of 200,000 Spurs fans and find out of that percentage, how many of them are happy to keep finishing in the top four? How many of them would happily give up a top four place if it meant going to Wembley in February or May or June, as it is this year for the FA Cup final, and actually winning some silverware? Because one trophy in 20 whatever number of years it is just depressing, I'm afraid. And I think it's a reflection of the way the club is run and the mentality. And I still think that if we finish fourth at the end of this season, absolutely nothing will change.
In the first half, yes, we were actually really good. We took the game to them. Sonny was unlucky hitting the post. Pedro Porro was unlucky hitting the post. We looked like we was in total control. But the difference is a proactive and reactive manager, he made changes. He saw what was going on and he reacted to it. And fair play to them. Like, I mean, at one point, it almost came back and bit him in the arse because Max Kilman went down and he was like, oh, they've already made 5 changes. Will he be able to, will they be able to carry on? But he did. And 77th minute, we make the first sub. Again, it was just literally, it's like he's just got a notebook and 77th minute, make a sub. 83rd minute, make a sub. There's no actual in-game management. I could have done a better job on that touchline today. Honestly, it was awful. And then, it's just, it's the same shit. And then afterwards, Kane comes out and says the same. We finished fourth. And like they said, they spin it. Oh, it's a successful season. We finished fourth above Chelsea, Liverpool, all of this crap. But the reality is it means nothing because we don't back the team. We don't back the manager. We don't invest. The fact that Eric Dyer and Ben Davies are starting in big games week in and week out, these guys are not good enough to be backups on any of the other top 6 or top 7 teams. And every time we get knocked out of a cup competition, if you look through the team sheet, it's Ben Davies, Davinson Sanchez, and Eric Dyer who are part of that back 4, back 5. The same today. Lenglet, a crap defender. He's like the 5th choice at Barcelona. He gave the ball away so many times for no reason. Ben Davies as well, always giving the ball away. Højbjerg was awful today as well, kept getting caught on the ball. And then, we were just sleepwalking into a 0-0. And obviously, they were quite fortunate with their goal. But if we're being real, they deserved it. They deserved it because the manager was actually brave and made changes. They deserved it because they actually attacked us. They played on the front foot. And they thought, you know what, let's go for it and see what happens. And
we were actually fine in the first half. But again, as we just have said in this opening, 20 minutes, that when it wasn't working in the second half, there's no clear, concise plan B. And also, whenever we're away from home and a team raises their game, we always seem to fail to raise ours. And that is the worry, isn't it? Whatever you're seeing on the pitch, whatever you want to apportionate the blame, whether it's at Conte's door, Levy's door, the players' door, ultimately, in football, you have to show a flexibility. You have to show that in any game when things aren't going right to change it. And we are failing to do that, Cracks. Failing to do it right now.
Yeah, I mean, that aspect of that isn't the board's fault. You could there's an argument that maybe there's not the players to bring on to be able to change it. But today there was some options there. You know, there has been some players bought that could make a difference. You know, you can argue about there being better players with the money that's in the club, but you are where you are. You can't buy a player at half time, you know, that's world class to bring on for the second half. So that aspect of the club is they have to do better, this management team. And I mean, I think we're at a point, Rick, where it's quite obvious that Antonio, although apparently coming back on Monday, isn't going to be around much longer. He's not going to extend. I mean, you know, it's just putting off the inevitable, isn't it? And the players will know that. We know that on the stands. The players know that. And you kind of think to yourself, well, maybe get that part of it done then. If he's not going to extend, there's 12, 13 games still to go. Get him gone. You know, our dear friend Andy joined us in the comments, and he said, get fourth, and it just prolongs the problem, doesn't it? You know, it's like just to get in it again, just for getting in it. We're not going to win it. Are you just interested in qualifying to get into a competition and then want to try and qualify it again? Like, you know, I'm not interested in that. I want to win stuff.
Pat, I do just want to bring in Stellini's comments before we do go for our first break of the show. So Stellini was talking after the game where he said, I think the performance was good. Very worrying. Particularly in the first half when we controlled the game in every aspect. We had some chances to score. We were not so nasty in the way to score. When you have a chance like this, you have to kill the game. The game was under control, but in the second half, we struggled a bit at the start. But after 10 minutes, we adapted to the situation. We controlled the game. We had another chance with Sonny that hit the bar. After that, I think that they had some intensity in the game with winning some offensive duels, and that created a situation where we struggled a bit and the game changed. But they found a way to score, and we didn't. This is the history of the game. What do you take, Pat, from those comments there from Stellini? Do you agree? That was particularly a good performance in the first half.
You know, I'm so angry that I would just want to grab him and shake him, grab him by the neck and just shake him and tell him that football is 90 minutes. It's not 45 minutes. It's not one half, like as in first half, or it's not second half, as we've been second half FC for the majority of the first part of the season. It's 90 minutes. The first half, don't get me wrong, we were sensational. I thought we played some really good football. We were brave. We played on the front foot. We were unfortunate not to go into the game, into the half with a goal lead. So they did what they did to slow the game down, have a few timeouts, smart game management, fair play to them. Second half, they made changes. They made, I think, 2 or 3 at the break, and you could see the difference straight away. Adama Traore was ripping Ben Davies to pieces every time on that left-hand flank, whipping in crosses, something that we've all said he has no end product. He definitely had end product today. He was tearing Ben Davies a new one, and then obviously they made changes and grew into the game. Stellini could see that. Make changes and adapt as well. Do something. Bring on another midfielder. Get Richarlison on. Dan Juma. Like you said, we hijacked him from Everton to do what? He's not played any meaningful minutes in any of our games.
Pat, you're making such a good point, but the thing is, what most managers would do is maybe not just change the players, but change the system. But we're not allowed to at Tottenham. We just can't, and that is such a vulnerability, and every other manager knows that.
Exactly.
And that puts the back foot straight away.
And not to dig Skip out, because I do like him and I understand he's quite young and I understand he's come back from some big injuries, but I'm sorry, he wasn't good enough today. He was like a second behind every tackle. He was giving the ball away. Get him off and bring someone else on. We got Sarr. Why is Sarr not playing? Sarr will have a great game and then not play again for 2 or 3 weeks. And when he does come on, he's playing 2 or 3 minutes. I'm sorry, but their game management and how they handle players is so poor. Like, if you look at how Pep Guardiola manages his squad, even when Jack Grealish isn't playing or Foden, they bring them in and ease them in, and slowly but surely they come good. And then, it's because he manages them properly. Sarr won't play for 2 or 3 weeks and then they get thrown in the deep end, have a bad game. We all jump on him. And I'm just saying Sarr, it could be anyone. It's the same for all of our players. And then they don't play again. Richarlison didn't have a great game. when he came on, but he plays like 8 minutes here or there. It's just weird how we handle our players. The tactics are poor. Like you said, we never change anything. We're so predictable. Even a team in the third tier will know how to set up and play against us. Yeah, to be honest, I love Antonio Conte in terms of what he is and what he's about, but it's not a good marriage. It's not a good relationship. And it almost feels like it's like he wants us to feel like we're privileged for him to be here. It should be a thing where he should love the club and we should love him. It shouldn't be a thing where we're always mates. It's almost like a toxic relationship.